Oh, all right. So what we're going to do, this is a 1-hour webinar on the YLP, and we'll have a few stories. I'll tell you a few stories to introduce the concept of the program. We'll have an agenda and then a question and answer period or two, okay? At this point, I'm going to turn off my video and just let you watch the slideshow, okay? Oh God, turn off my video. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that.
Actually, we see your screen, so.
Oh really? You don't see me, you just see my screen.
We also see you. At least I see Pablo and you and
Sophie.
On the side. Oh,
but
okay.
it's okay. It's just on the side of the window, so it's
okay. All right. Well, I may just stop the video temporarily. Let's see what happens if I stop the video on. Okay. I still see Pablo and Sophie. All right.
But I can turn it off if you want, if you don't want to see me.
No, of course I want to see you. But then what's going to happen, we're going to see black spots for the others. You know what? This is the first time I'm doing a zoom in. Well, let's just go with it. All right. So once again, welcome. In this 1-hour YLP webinar, we're going to have a few stories to introduce the concept of the YLP program, review the agenda, and have a question and answer period, maybe twice. Oh, golly. At the Milan District 59 conference, Pablo, Sophie, and I, we introduced the YLP at a workshop. And we shared how our YLP experiences began, held a workshop, and answered a few questions. And some of that material is going to be in the in today's webinar. Let me see. Each YLP has an agenda as a guide. And when the kids start the meetings, the excitement begins. What they will say, how they'll evaluate, maybe what's that mystery object for table topics. The students give 2 speeches during 8 sessions, and they are evaluated for each speech. And as the meeting evolves, a door opens. It opens for the students, for the Toastmaster coaches, and for the coordinators. For example, who knew that shy Beatrice would burst forth with confidence about the relationship between her cat and her dog? Who knew that Matt would relate guitar playing to a doorway into life experiences? Who knew that Julian, in his 2nd year of the YLP, would evaluate with such structure and concrete observations? This is your experience as well as the teens under 18, or in fact, tweens, because you can have students between 8 and 12. Each YLP is unique. There's always a story, and no 2 stories are the same. Each session experience is different. The agenda in the workbook is a guide. Each YLP experience is different. It depends on language, culture, age, location, purpose, motivation, and the number of participants. But like Matt in the doorway, he's 15. He learned to play the guitar much younger. And when he looks back now on his youth, I had to chuckle at that. The guitar seems so tiny. He practiced and wanted more, so he and his friends would play music together. And they'd wander around with their instruments and trying to memorize songs, but no particular structure. And Matt said that one day one of his friends just sat down and started freely on the piano. I don't know what you call that, when you just play whatever you want to. And they all started to follow this basic idea. And when they appeared on stage after memorizing some songs in front of a live audience, they had structure, they had fun, they had an audience. And Matt said he walked through a new doorway. Are you ready to step through the YLP doorway with me? Let's get started.
Yes.
This is an example of information and materials that you can get you started on the YLP. The documents and YouTube links were made available in several emails to early registrants of the webinar. The information is available to you still on Google Drive. And how to contact me with questions, you'll see on a later slide. Any questions so far?
No. It's all very clear.
Is it? Okay. Well, I have a question. Besides Pablo and Sophie, who else has given a YLP? Marisa?
No, not me, but I would like to do it this
Carol?
year.
Oh, good. Carol?
Yeah, I would like it, but
Carl, have you given a YLP?
No, but I'm very curious to do it, and that's why I joined this webinar.
Okay, good. So hopefully I'm starting to get you a little more curious.
Yes.
Okay, then let's move on to the next slide. The YLP kit is available on Toastmasters, and it costs about $17. Well, not about, it costs $17 plus shipping. And for the initial kit, you get the coordinator's guide and 5 student workbooks, a pad of evaluation sheets, and certificates for the students. And you can buy additional supplies in the Toastmasters shop. And when you have a YLP, give a YLP, have a co-coordinator, and consider giving the co-coordinator, the co-coordinator a coordinator's guide. We were asked at the workshop about the materials, and another question we were asked was, who pays for the materials? And that can be answered by either the club, who is sponsoring the YLP, would pay. But from my personal experience, when I took the YLP into the community, our partners, the non-Toastmaster associations involved, they paid for our kits. They supplied a free venue, photocopies, snacks, beverages for each meeting. And my club paid for nothing. We were the sponsor. So you always have a Toastmaster club as a sponsor. The YLP is a community program, and it's your chance to give back to your community using our Toastmaster tools and our skills. It puts a face on the Toastmaster learning program. So you learn while you're teaching and mentoring the students, and you have their confidence. This is something very precious. You are let into their secret world, and it's probably a world that not even their parents often see or hear. So you develop, and you help the students develop and learn their potential as leaders. And we are in our 4th session right now, and they are identifying themselves already as leaders and how this is going to help them. And that seed is planted early in the program. That seed is planted with a little boost from the Toastmaster coaches, because when they go to volunteer as officers, for example, like last night, it was time for elections, and the ones that had already been officers wanted to be officers again, and we had to say, maybe we should give others a chance. And so a little pep talk from the coach and why this is important for them as an individual to be an officer helped. So now we have Arlette, for example, as the new president for the next 4 sessions, and her co-president is Caitlin. So now we have, for the first time, 2 girls as president instead of just 1. And so the coaches also coach them with taking the roles or speaking whenever possible. And anytime they have those opportunities to take the roles or speak, already after the first session, they can tell, they can feel it, that they're in a safe environment and they can speak up freely. Preparing our workshop, Pablo, Sophie, and I, we came up with 3 main categories for giving a YLP. And under each category, as you see in this keyword slide, we came up with specific topics we were faced with. So I'll just give you a moment to take a look at the list. Did all of you receive the email with the links and to documents? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Okay. All right. Now, how you set up your agenda, well, that's nice. Oh, yeah, I see. How you set up your agenda depends on how many students are participating and how much time you have. So in this slide, I'm going to give you 4 examples of different agendas from Rome, Toulouse, and Paris. Those are the ones I have available to me. And the sessions run from 1 to 2 hours. And the more students, the more you can concentrate on speeches, evaluations, and upcoming assignments. But the fewer the students, you not only do that, but you can plan mini workshops and other skill building activities, which you'll see as each agenda progresses. In this first agenda, I believe Lucy had 25 students participating. She's in Rome. And they use class time. So each time they had 7 speakers and 7 evaluators. She's a Toastmaster and a teacher. And then in the second example, we have Sophie's from Toulouse. And this is her session 4. And they have 6 speakers and evaluators. And her group comes from various high schools. And where was it you said they meet, Sophie? They meet at an international school.
School, yeah.
Yeah.
A private school.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what they've had time for in this 4th session are discussions in their second election cycle. So there's an election cycle, the first set meeting, and a new election on the 4th meeting, which prepares the group for the session 5, 6, 7, and 8. And after the 4th session, you'll notice, oops. You'll notice that in the manuals that there's a theme for each session, whether it's impromptu speaking, organizing a speech, voice and vocabulary, and gestures. The 3rd session is interesting because there are 4 speakers. This is from this year, and I put up the wrong session. But anyway, for example, the agenda I wanted to show was the 4th session. It was 4 speakers and 4 evaluators, and the election. And this is a group of 11 students. But in the 4th session, 2 of the students didn't show up. So Julian, the current president, he decided to ask during the break the 4 evaluators if they would participate in something different, like evaluating speakers that weren't there. No, how would I say this? There were 2 speakers, and would they help him evaluate the 2 speakers? So in this case, each of the 2 speakers had 2 verbal evaluations and not just 1. So that worked out really well. And then we had our elections and elected the new officers for the next meeting. So in this fourth example, we had 9 students from last year, and this is our final session. So that means that we had three speeches, 3 evaluations each session. And in the 8th, we had to do makeup speeches for those that missed out on their second speech. But it also allowed us time for contests and a party. And in this case, the group had voted in advance for 2 contests, table topics and tongue twisters. And the tongue twisters actually was part of a voice and vocabulary workshop, and Katja asked if it could be included as a contest. So the kids are always thinking of innovative things to do. And they also wanted, for the final session, debate. And they we put someone in charge of the debate portion. And they decided that this debate would be using 4 famous historical characters in a balloon that was losing air. And who would be left in the balloon and who would be thrown out of the balloon. And of course, the historical characters to defend their case were Hitler, Marilyn Monroe, and Michael Jackson. So it was fun. And actually, Hitler won. But for the party, we had awards and a potluck dinner, and everyone contributed food from pizza to pasta to salads and desserts. So another thing to consider is when you give out the certificates, is to attach that red "Where Leaders Are Made" ribbon that is available from Toastmasters. They attach that to each of one of their certificates to kind of brighten it up a little bit. So you have this opportunity to be creative with your agendas, creative with the students. Let them have as much voice as possible in the decisions. The agendas, they're just basic guides. And the students are running the meetings. You as the coordinators and the co-coordinators are the guides and set the basic structure. Everyone, the YLPers, the TMs, Toastmasters, everyone writes a written speech evaluation. And after the 4th session, you can include a written form for everyone to evaluate the evaluators. That's available in the kit. You can make up a form for the secretary to make it easier to write out the minutes. And let's see, you may have students that are interested in debate, like happened with our 8th session. And they may want to spend time at the meeting on that. You may want to receive feedback a few times. It's helpful to know which direction you're going in. You can do it at the beginning, middle, and end of the YLP. And their words, they become your testimonial. Bruno in Marseille, he did his YLP quite quickly because he was preparing his students for the baccalaureate in English. So at the end, he took about 3 of the students and made testimonial videos, and those are on Facebook. So there's various ways for involving the kids with photos or videos, which leads to the subject of the photo release form. Toastmasters has an official photo release form. And in the Google Drive, I've modified it a little bit, adding some extra information, more specific, because the parents are going to sign this, and it's important for the parents to know where these photos are going to be used. You may want to use them on Facebook. You might want to prepare a photo memory in Google Photos for them. You may want to yourself give a presentation or a workshop, or as in this case, a webinar. Speaking of the parents, contacts are very important because the students might not respond to email. And you want to get the email addresses of the students and the parents immediately. because the parents want to be involved. If you have questions or they have questions about what you're doing or comments or praise, they need to know who to get in touch with. And phone numbers. Get everyone's phone numbers. The cell number of the parents, the cell number of the students, because you can send SMSs. The kids will respond to SMSs, WhatsApp, a lot faster than an email. Skype, get everyone's Skype names, because when you do mentor to help them with their speeches, you might want to do it once or twice, mentoring them. And it's really good to use the Skype video when you do this. As far as for me, for contact for my email and my Skype, there it is for you. And I can give you my cell number if you have calls, you want to call me or send me an SMS or a WhatsApp, and I'll give it to you privately. I just don't want to put it on the slides. And so now at this point, I just wanted to, it's time to move into additional questions for whatever I've talked about or whatever you want to know about.
Yeah, regarding the parents, do you give the parents something? I think you've said that you give the parents something to sign because you are taking pictures, or you will be, or maybe you are taking pictures of the kids, so they have to sign this in advance, like as you said, no, knowing that you are going to use it or web
Right.
seminars or whatever.
Yeah, so there's the photo release form. It's a Toastmasters official form, and it's in the Google Drive, and it's also on the Toastmasters website. But the modified version for the YLP, I would suggest looking in the Google Drive link that you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
And for parents, I don't know how it is, you'll have to tell me, Sophie, on yours, but for our YLP last year and this year, parents are not invited to attend any sessions because that would take away an element of safety for the kids. And last year for the 8th session for the party, they voted twice and reconfirmed it a second time that they were not inviting the parents to the party. So it was only the Toastmaster coaches, the partners, association partners, and the students themselves who attended the party. So they will be a little radical on that, but it's understandable.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, I have one more.
Yeah.
You also talk about coaching, no?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't, that's a good idea. I don't know if it's in I haven't seen it in the books. Maybe I haven't read it them deeply, but it's a good idea. So you offer like coaching to anyone who like it, and they use it, as I've heard.
Yes, because it wasn't mentioned in any of the manuals that I recall. We have a coordinator and a co-coordinator and our partners. But I had thought that I don't know everything. And I like help. I like working with teams. And I have a network in Paris. So I started asking others, about their interest. And pretty soon we ended up with 14 coaches, Toastmasters.
Oh, great. And it's a good idea.
Yes.
Well.
So what we do last year and this year is set up in Google Drive an attendance form, who's doing the speeches, who's doing the evaluations. And we also have a section for the coaches, who is attending and which meeting, which coach is going to be the general evaluator for the meeting. So we have one of Toastmasters each session be a general evaluator. We have the Toastmasters giving the mini workshop on every meeting a different topic. Even if we haven't hit the theme of evaluations yet, it was done in our 4th session. So this way here, they get written evaluations from Toastmasters. The coaches, they become the mentors, the coaches for the students, giving the speeches in advance. And that's why now we've just signed up, all the students have signed up for their speaking slots and their evaluation slots for session 5, 6, 7, and 8. And repeating what we did last year. And now they will get in touch, the coach will get in touch with the student because we have their coordinates, and the student will get in touch with the Toastmaster coach, and it'll go back and forth, and there'll be 1 to 3 meetings probably.
That's great. Yeah.
It is.
Good idea.
It is.
Thanks.
And then you're not working alone either. You have all this other input. It makes it more fun.
Yeah.
What else would you like to hear included in the next webinar? I don't know the participants who they'll be, but what do you think would be good to put in the webinar for the next time? Okay, well, I'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. This went faster than I expected and than I planned. I'm just wondering what I left out in this session that could have been helpful. So if you have any questions after we hang up, please send it to me in an email or get Skype with me, and then I'll try to answer your questions. Okay.
Okay, I do have a question, if I may.
Sure.
I went through all the material because I wasn't able to see the workshop in Milan, and I was impressed by the presentation, and I was touched by especially Pablo's explanation about helping children in more difficult situations. My question is, I really would like to do something for teenagers, but I have no idea where to start. Should I just go to some schools in my neighborhood, and do you need to be aware of certain issues? Like I went to a colleague who is especially involved in difficult children, in troublesome households where there will be absolutely no mobile phone numbers from parents or whatever. So, and he didn't really recommend it. He said, well, leave those kids alone. I mean, they will not be open for any kind of learning that way. So I wanted to know from you three, how did you proceed to start, and how did you get in touch with an audience that was interested by this offer?
Pablo, would you like to answer that?
Definitely. So in my case, it was kind of as I mentioned in the workshop, what you mentioned is that I wanted to have it in my neighborhood because some of those kids don't have the ability. Sorry, can you, Moses, can you mute? I think there's a lot of noise coming from that mic. Or maybe Colleen, you can mute him.
Try that.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. So I wanted to do it in the neighborhood because they, as you mentioned, I wanted those troubled kids to have these abilities, because normally nowadays there are other kind of kids that they have some debating and some showing at school, but maybe not them. In my case, I went directly to the school and I talked to the principal, and she suggested that I could go with this group of kids who were studying to become, let's say, something like sales involved, but in a very initial step. And I she told me in the beginning that it might be difficult with them, but I told her that it's perfect because I trust the initiative, I trust the program, and as Colleen mentioned before, it's all about them. They will get involved and really from the beginning, so they will make it theirs. And sometimes, of course, it wasn't easy when they didn't want to, let's say, be ready for delivering a speech or something like that. But in the end, they all become that group. I think it is just a matter of knowing. I mean, if they are in the school, although they might be forced, but they are still there. So for them, it might be probably more useful to have these kind of workshops or things or programs rather than a math class or something like that. So I think if you have the will to do it, you will manage for sure. And people and actually they were very grateful to the program, and they really like Colleen mentioned before, they really took that lead from the beginning. Like, oh, I want to be that leader. Oh, I'm the leader now. I want to be the president. I want to be to participate. And in the next class, I will be the one delivering my speech and things like that. Okay. So they are very grateful.
Okay, thank you.
Did I answer?
Yes.
As I said, in my case, the group was already formed, let's say. Yeah. But in case Colleen, your picture shows Clara. That's right.
Because this is Clara's account.
So in case of Colleen's and Sophie, they had different approaches towards forming that group and having applicants and registrations.
Yeah. And Pablo, in your case, I suppose it was in Spanish.
Yes.
So
the manuals.
And the manuals are in Spanish available?
No, not so far. But what we did is take advantage of it, and I also talked to the English teacher so that he could use this in his class to have content, so reinforce the content that we had in the YLP classes, and also in their classes to translate this to Spanish. So they were doubling the time with with speaking in public and evaluations and stuff.
Okay, that's smart. Yeah.
I'm glad he accepted.
Language raises a good point. They are going to have the youth leadership available in 8 languages.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be available in 8 languages when it rolls out in our region. And I guess the manuals will be available online. And do you know about the awards in the current program and the awards in Pathways?
I guess you thought that it would be taken into account for ACG, which I just happen to be, but never mind that.
Well, here's the good news then. Whether you're giving the youth leadership program now or in the future, if you haven't used it for any award, in Pathways, it will come up into a new status, a higher status than ACG. And you can use it toward your DTM because it will fall into the category of sponsor, same as Speechcraft and sponsoring a club.
Okay.
Requirement. So that'll be 2 good news: language and award. So if you don't have any plans on reaching DTM before the final showdown of the current program, or you want to just start working in Pathways, you can. It looks optimistic for that point in time.
Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate your interest, and thank you for participating, and thank you for your questions, and thank you for your patience getting this started.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Thank you. All right. Then pass on the word, start the program, grab your co-coordinators and your coaches. And Carl, what division are you in?
I'm in Belgium, so
Which one?
Which one in Belgium? There's only one division in Belgium. We're B, I suppose.
Well, B for Belgium. I'll check it out. Marisa,
Yeah.
what division are you in?
I am with Pablo.
Ah, okay, in H, Division H. Is that
yeah,
correct?
In the same club, yeah.
Oh, okay. You are Division H, right, Pablo?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Moses?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes. What division are you in?
I'm in District 74, which is in New Zealand. And I've taken some youth leadership programs down here in Hamilton, New Zealand.
Ah, taken them or given them?
Hence my interest. I've taken them. And so the organizations that I've taken them for are Girl Guides. They are the ones who have contacted me. So I've taken the youth leadership in there and have sort of like helped them to grow in communication skills with Girl Guides. So just a thought that, you know, other organizations that need our skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hello to New Zealand. Whoa. Carol, what, you're in Division A, F?
I'm in French Riviera.
Okay, Division F. Sabrina, what division are you in? Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Clara. How are you?
Colleen, the name's wrong.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Well, I joined you a bit later, but a bit late. But I'm from France. A. Exactly.
Okay. What club?
Caliop, which is in Orléans.
Ah, in Orleans. Okay, great, great, great.
Not far from Paris.
Okay, well, I'm going to make this webinar available online as soon as I clean it up. And then we can talk here and find out what you need to know, what you missed. And then for Pablo in Division H and Division F, I know you have people that are interested already in the program, so I want to find out more about that. Okay, well, time is just about up. And yes, the name is wrong. It's Colleen Shaughnessy-Larsson. And this is our YLP t-shirts.
Great.
We had t-shirts made up for our workshop in Milan. So we've had fun. We have fun doing this. We've had fun doing it, and we're looking forward to having more fun. And we know you will have fun as well. It'll be a really, really enriching experience, and you'll be addicted to it. Won't they, Pablo and Sophie? Well, apparently Moses is too, because he's busy still doing it. So it's good to do. Good news. Good news. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
Glad to share information. I want to hear more from you too about what your experiences are. Okay. Bye.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you, Colleen. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.